How's it going, guys? My name is Just Weavile and welcome to my channel where we try to bring out the potential in every Pokemon available. Today I have a battle for you versus Jay Valor. He's also a YouTuber, so go check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But looking at the team, oh wow, that's a frightening one. A very frightening one. So I have changed the team a little bit. I changed Mechanolith's set since the last video, but I don't think it'll do well in this game, to be honest with you. So I do want to get the sticky webs up, but the Iron Treads is a problem. And I don't have a ghost type to block it, unless I Terramaya or Iodos. So I think I might lead off with Gary Goggles. They probably lead with Meowscarada though, that's the thing. But I have got the Incineroar, so we lead with Gary Goggles. If we encounter Meowscarada first turn, we just switch out into Incineroar. Easy as that. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Jay. So they're going to lead off with 30 minutes, which is a really cool nickname for a Rotom Heat. As I led off with Gary Goggles, so this is a good matchup for us, unless they Terra Ice, of course. I feel pretty safe going for a Draco Meteor here. That's for sure. Except they could bring Primarina in. And I feel like Primarina is coming in. But you never know. So I'm going to go for a U-turn first and foremost. They did stay in. They didn't Terra, which is good to know. And that tells me they might be specially defensive or a bulky set of some kind. So what I'm going to do here is they probably go for either a Will-O-Wisp or a Volt Switch. I can't block the Volt Switch, so I think I'm better off going into Incineroar here. So we'll go into Neon Cena. Really original nickname right there. Get the Intimidate off, not that it matters. And they do go for a Willow. So we made the right play going into Incineroar there, which is great. So they probably don't want to get knocked off. They're more than likely going to go for a Volt Switch into, if I had to guess, Primarina. So I'm going to go for a fat knockoff real quick, and hopefully we knock off a Primarina's item, which could probably be Choice Spec or Assault Vest, usually. They go for a Volt Switch. It's not going to do much damage to us, because we are Spadef. Let's see what they go into, though. I am leaning towards Primarina. You know? I'm thinking that. H2O, that's got to be the Primarina, right? There we go. All right, knockoff comes through. A little bit of damage, nothing too drastic. We do knock off their Assault Vest, which is kind of clutch. It's also good to know they don't have any other stats moves. They don't have Calm Mind or whatever they can have. Now, I don't want to risk getting hit by a powerful Water-type move here, so I'm going to go into my go-to Primarina switch, which is Tentacruel. They could have Psychic Noise, but it shouldn't do too much damage to us. You know, despite it being super effective, because it's not Stab, and we've got a decent Spadef on this thing. We don't have Spadef investment, it's just gone naturally high. And they go for a Flip Turn, which is a good play. Good play for sure. But what are they going to go into? That's the real question. I really wonder what they're going to go into. Pumbaa comes in. The Iron Treads. That's a good one. It floats in the air with the Air Balloon. Obviously outspeeds us and threatens us with an Earthquake, so we're probably going to have to switch out. Now, they could predict the Flygon switch, as it's my only viable switch in. But I'm going to go for Clefable instead, because I feel like they might either go for a knockoff or they go for a Ice Spinner predicting the Flygon. But it's more likely they go straight for an Earthquake or a Stealth Rocks. So if I go into Clefable right now, they do go for a Stealth Rock, which is fine. My Incineroar is the weakest to the Stealth Rocks, and it's got a Heavy Dew Boot set on it, so not too worried about this. What I'm going to do instead is, because there's a very good chance they switch out here, but also there's a good chance to go for an Iron Head. I kind of want to go for my own Stealth Rocks, but I don't want to give them an excuse to get a Speed Boost from Rapid Spin. So I'm going to go for a Flamethrower. They do go for a Volt Switch. That's good. At least we get chip. We're getting chip damage here and there on each other, but this is a pretty good matchup for both teams, to be honest with you. So in comes the Rotom, which is a fine switch there. We go for a Flamethrower, get a bit of chip. Nothing too drastic. But obviously, I didn't see what item they had. Did they have leftovers? I mean, my play here is to go into the Incineroar, which is why I'm going to go for a Stealth Rocks, to be honest with you. So if we go for a Stealth Rocks, that'll make it so that we can get a free switch in on the Iron Treads with something that can deal with it. But I don't really have the fastest ones in the world. They do go for a Volt Switch, which is to be expected, because they more than likely expect Incineroar to come in there, which it obviously didn't. And I'm assuming they'll go Iron Treads here, but the fact that... Oh no, H2O comes in. Okay. Interesting. So we go for a Stealth Rocks. That's going to whittle away at the team every turn that they switch in. provided they don't have heavy duty boots or magic guard. So I'm thinking we want to preserve Clefable for sure, because we do have a switch in Mean Tentacruel. They are more than likely going to go for a flip turn here, so I'm actually tempted to just get a bit more chip damage on here with Moonblast, which is what I'm going to do. Moonblast comes through, we get a bit of chip, nothing too drastic. They do go for the flip turn as expected, so the chip damage on the Pre-Marine is definitely going to come in handy later. As long as we can whittle things away, we're going to be all right. This might be a to the timer game, to be fair, with the way it's going. Definitely to a timer game. 30 mins comes in. Okay. It's heavy duty boots, which is good to know. Very good to know it's heavy duty boots. So if we assume they're going to go for a volt switch to try and whittle away at us as well, I think I'm going to go for another Moonblast here. Now, they do go for an overheat, which is going to sting a little bit, but it doesn't KO despite being a crit. And that crit is kind of clutch for them. So Moonblast comes through, a bit of chip, nothing too drastic. I did not expect the crit, obviously. You don't expect crits unless it's Flower Trick. But now that this thing's like weakened, I feel a bit safer going into Gary Goggles here. So I'm going to go into Gary Goggles, because even if they do switch up moves and go for an overheat again, I don't have to worry about getting KO'd. So Gary Goggles comes in. We can block the Volt Switch if they go for it. Stones do dig in, but it's not that big of a deal. They do go for the Volt Switch, which is fantastic. So now that the Pre-Marine has not gotten its Assault Vest, the best thing we can do is to actually go for a Terra Normal Boom Burst, because that's going to hurt something really bad. So I'm going to go for a Terra Normal Boom Burst now, like so. There we go. And they more than likely go for a Will-O-Wisp if they live this. By the way, they've stayed in. So we Terra Normal. This is going to make us not weak to the Pre-Marine's attacks as well, which is good for us. So Boom Burst comes through. It is choice specs. With Terra Normal, it should do the trick. It does do the trick. And we claim the first KO of the game, which is fantastic. So with Rotom out of the way, Flygon could be the key to winning this, to be honest with you. It really could. Pumbaa comes in. Or Pumbaa. I don't know how you pronounce it. The Iron Treads. This thing's an interesting set. So the fact that they brought it in tells me that they might not think we're specs, because they've got that nice and powerful air balloon right there. Do we have a switch in? I think what I'm going to do here is, because they're probably going to go for a spin, I think I might stay in just to get a Boom Burst off while they spin, and then I'll switch out. So I'm going to go for a Boom Burst now. They do go for the Rapid Spin. Obviously, it's not going to do much damage to Flygon over here. It does get rid of the Stealth Rocks, unfortunately, but it's fine as we go for a Boom Burst now, and that should still do a rough third of its remaining HP. It does way more than I thought it would, and it pops the Air Balloon, which is fantastic. So I don't think another Boom Burst will KO, because it already had chip on it anyway. So I think my best play here is to sack off the Clefable, and it does mean we're going to not be able to get Stealth Rocks up, but that is the price I am willing to pay to get this Flygon out of here before he gets smacked in the face with a knockoff or something to get rid of its choice specs. So we withdraw Gary Goggles. And we go into Tinkerbell, of course, the Sociable. They do go for an EQ. Now, that's an interesting play, because we would have taken that with the Flygon because of the Levitate ability. So it's interesting they decided to do that now. My best bet here, I need to get Tentacruel into Rapid Spin at some point, but I think my best bet here is going to be going back into Gary Goggles and Earth Powering. Because if they're going to go for an Earthquake, yeah, Gary Goggles can come in now. Because by the looks of it, Earthquake, Volt Switch, Stealth, Rapid Spin, and I think they had Stealth Rock, so I don't think they have anything that can really hit us. But what is their best switch in? Probably going to be the Salamence, to be honest with you, to take an Earth Power. That'll give them an opportunity to get a free Dragon Dance off, so I don't really want to do that. I think my best bet's to go for another Boom Burst, because now that we know that they don't really have anything to touch us, that's probably our best play. So I'm going to go for a Boom Burst now. I'm hoping that the Earthquake play wasn't because they forgot about Levitate, but you never know. You never know. They go for a Volt Switch, which is fantastic for us. It does take us down to half, but I think Flygon's looking like the MVP right now. So Terra Normal Boom Burst will hit everything on their team pretty hard. The Pre-Marina can definitely take one, but maybe not two. at the health it's at. So we go for a Boom Burst. I think they might have predicted the Draco Meteor, but Boom Burst claims another soul on the Flygon, which is fantabulous. Absolutely fantastic. And Joker comes in on their side. Who's Joker? Meowscarada. Now, obviously, we don't want to get smacked in the face with a Flower Trick, but we do have the Incineroar in the back. Now, it's more likely they're going to predict this and go for a U-turn, but with Primarina gone, Incineroar looks pretty good as well as Flygon. We just need some way to deal with this Meowscarada, which I do kind of have in Meloetta if I can pull off a Relic Song. Because Meowscarada is a Pokemon that they could switch in on Meloetta if they think it's a normal Meloetta set. So we get the Intimidate off. They do go for a knockoff, which would have definitely KO'd my Flygon. Yep, definitely would have KO'd the Flygon. It was a crit, granted, but still. They do knock off a Heavy Duty Boots, though. Now, looking at their squad, they don't have a good switch into knockoff here. Or Flare Blitz, for that matter. We could easily go for a knockoff. I think I will, because we don't know what set this Meowscarada set is for a start. They're more than likely going to want to switch out here, if it's choiced. They do withdraw, so we're going to get a nice clean knockoff on something. And that's going to be Fierce. Is that the Salamence? It is the Salamence. That's a good nickname for a Salamence, I will say. It's an Intimidate set, which means it could be a special or mixed set. We do knock off their Throat Spray, so that is a special set right there. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go for a Parting Shot. I believe that we can live a Hydro Pump if they have Hydro Pump, but I don't think they'll go for an attack here. They may switch out. I think they're going to predict. They do go for a Hyper Voice, which we're going to eat. And then we go for a Parting Shot, lowering its special attack and physical attack by one stage and then getting us out of there. So that was a worthwhile risk for us because we got rid of its item. So now we can get in here with Tentacruel and we can get rid of those Stealth Rocks. It's a very good opportunity to get rid of Stealth Rocks here. So we're at a speed type, but we should be all right if it's a special variant. So they don't have a Ghost type, do they? No. So we are better off going for a Rapid Spin here, which is exactly what I'm going to do. They might expect an Ice Beam and switch out, I would guess. But that's not coming their way. They go for a Draco Meteor, which is going to do a bit of damage to us. But they're at -1 special attack, so it wasn't doing much. And now they're at -3. We get a Rapid Spin off, allowing us to outspeed it the next turn, whilst also getting rid of the Stealth Rocks. So at this point, they're going to be afraid of an Ice Beam, potentially. But we're not going to go for that. We're going to go straight for a Sludge Wave here. Just to try and get the damage off on the Salamence, and also just to hurt something on their team. If they bring in the Treads, we can outspeed it because we've already got a Rapid Spin off. We go for a Surf. Now, what's good to note here is they haven't Terra'd yet, and we have. So I'm going to go for a Sludge Wave. Bit of damage. They go for another Draco. They're just trying to get as much chip on this Tentacruel as possible, which is awesome for them. So I'm going to go for another Sludge Wave here. Just KO the Salamence. I believe they're going to let the Salamence go down, as sad as that is to me, because Salamence is my second favorite Pokemon of all time. I've got some fun stories about Salamence. I'll tell them on stream later, potentially, if I remember. So Sludge Wave comes through, and that should KO from there. It does, which is fantastic. With Salamence gone, that's a big threat out of the way. It was an interesting set, though. Throat Spray with Hyper Voice is pretty cool, I will say. So Pumbaa comes in. Now, we do outspeed here, but they could well Terra. So what I'm going to do here is, looking at their squad, we don't really need Tentacruel, so I'm going to go for a Surf regardless. They didn't Terra, so they're just letting the Iron Treads go down at this point, which is fine. They could just bring Meowscarada in here and knock off us. But I'm assuming that that means they're not Choice Scarf. They must be Banded or insert other moveset here. Joker comes in. The Meowscarada. Now, obviously, I'm afraid of this thing. I am going to sack off Tentacruel here, just because I don't want to risk losing Tentacruel just yet. I'm not going to sack off Tentacruel. I'm going to sack off Incineroar. That's what I meant to say. So, Yarncina comes in. We get the Intimidate off, putting us in a much better position against this thing. They do go for a Flower Trick, though, which is always a crit. So, the Intimidate doesn't matter. If they don't lock themselves into another move, it'd be fine, but because they lock themselves into that, it makes it a bit more of a predicament that we're in. So, I think I think that our best bet is going to be the Ariados here. So I'm going to go into Ariados now. We have got a Focus Sash. We do resist the Flower Trick. And what we could do here is we could easily just go for... Because the best switch in here is going to be the Heracross, right? So I think my best option is to get the Sticky Webs first, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Now, they could be Triple Axle here and not choiced, but I don't think they are. They aren't. They didn't go for a U-turn either, telling me they are definitely choiced, but I kind of figured that from the beginning. So in comes Tyson the Heracross. We lay down them Sticky Webs so that Flygon can outspeed the Meowscarada later, provided they're not Scarfed. But they are a Guts variant on the Heracross, which is really interesting. So I think my best bet here is to go for a Poison Jab and then a Shadow Sneak afterwards to get as much chip damage on this Heracross as possible. And then we just go into Flygon and just Boom Burst the rest of the team. I think that's how we can do this. So Trailblaze, that's an interesting one. So that's going to boost their speed, unfortunately for us. So we go for a Poison Jab. That's going to do a bit of damage, half of its health, which is fantastic damage. Now, priority-wise, we don't have much. They could pull this back with the Heracross quite easily. So I have to risk getting KO'd here. They do go for the Terra, and that's a good reason for me to not go Shadow Sneak. Terra normal Facade is quite common, and I believe that's what they might be. They are, so I'm glad I didn't go for a Shadow Sneak there, because that wouldn't have been chip damage. That would have just been meh. But I don't think I have any way to beat this thing now, unfortunately. So Facade comes through. Now, if I'd have not let the Ariados' Focus Sash break there, I should have gone into something else like Tentacruel, for example, to sack against the Trailblaze, because if we got them to Terra normal, we might have been all right. But unfortunately, because we have Terra and they've got Trailblaze up, I don't think we live. So I'm going to go Meloetta, being my most healthiest Mon. And this could be a really good comeback for Jay with the Heracross. Could be a really good comeback. So what I'm thinking is we Relic Song just to see if we can live a hit. But a Guts boosted Terra Normal Facade is an insanely powerful move on a Heracross, and we do not live that. So Meloetta goes down, and this is a really good comeback because we had them on the ropes for a bit. I'm just thinking if there's any way I can get around this. I don't think there is. I think Flygon goes down because we got the Sticky Webs up after Heracross came in, right? So it hasn't got that speed drop. So Trailblaze makes it neutral. So my best bet here is to go for a Sludge Wave and hope for the best. They do obviously go for a Terra Normal Facade, which is going to KO Tentacruel, no doubt in my mind, unfortunately. And we are not Choice Scarfed on Flygon, so we do not win this game. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Flygon. You never know. I mean, it doesn't live a Facade. It could have close combat anyway. It's probably got close combat, which I'm normal type, so it doesn't really matter what I do here. Let's go for a Boom Burst, just in case. But we definitely go down to a CC or a Facade here. Probably a CC. Yeah, there's a CC. Quicker animation, you see. And that's going to take out Flygon. That's going to be the game. So GGJ, that was a really fun one. Nice and long. Came down to the timer nearly with 15 seconds to spare. And it was a great comeback from Jay right there, because it looked like we were going to win, but that Trailblaze on the Heracross was great. That's awesome. GG. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video. Feel free to try the team out. There is a new rental code on screen right now because obviously I changed the moveset and the Terra type of the Meloetta. So try it out if you want to, see if it makes a better improvement to the team. So with that being said, I'll see you all on stream later.